That's one of the biggest issues in GTM right now, is that LinkedIn is just completely siloed, but it's also the most important place to do go-to-market now. So the way that we think of our business is a way of operationalizing social selling. It's creating content, it's engaging with your prospects one-to-one to build awareness, getting the notification bar. Commenting is a compounding sport. When you comment on someone's post, other people that you're connected with see your comment. So you're building familiarity with your market over time. The LinkedIn algorithms changed this year. Your profile optimization dictates what your content can do and who it gets distributed to. Because getting people to come to your profile and getting people to accept your connection requests, a lot of it is going to be determined by whatever the first 63 characters of your headline are.
Welcome back to the show. Today's guest is the head of go-to-market at First Touch. It's a platform that lets you operationalize social inside a HubSpot workflows, sequences, and segments so that you can actually action and report on it. We're excited to be joined today by Michael Kirsten. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me. Excited to be here.
Hey, this is I think a topic everyone's very curious on. You can see from the chat, everyone's a little timid on the LinkedIn automation, and then doing it manually is just difficult. So before we dive into all that good stuff, Adam, what are 3 things people will learn if they stick around until the end of the show today?
Okay, if you stick around, the first thing you're going to learn is the commenting blueprint. We're going to show you the exact strategy Michael makes to warm up a prospect before he ever hits their inbox. Number 2, you'll learn the exact framework Michael used to hit a 70% connection acceptance rate by turning his profile into a landing page. And number 3, Michael's going to show us how he pushes social signals into HubSpot to track every dollar of pipeline back to a LinkedIn interaction. This is going to be a dope show. I'm excited about it. The workflow shows are always the best, man, because people can get off, they can turn it off, and they can go do it right then.
That's excited. That's it. Well, let's dive into it. So the first question, we always ask this for context for the audience, Michael. What exactly is First Touch?
Yeah. So First Touch is a system of action to help people operationalize social. What the heck does that mean? Basically, what it means is social is more than just LinkedIn automation, right? And if we treat LinkedIn just with LinkedIn automation, kind of the same way we treat email, we're going to lose like 90% of the value of the channel. So the way that we think of our business is a way of operationalizing social selling, right? It's creating content, it's engaging with your prospects one-to-one to build awareness, getting the notification bar, right? And then it's going out and capturing that awareness with, what do we know? Connections and DMs. And this is a process that we've run at First Touch since the beginning of this year. The good news for everyone on this meeting, if you haven't done a ton of it, I started doing it on January 1st of this year. You can go back and look at the LinkedIn receipts. I started basically from a cold start at the beginning of this year. So the strategies that we go through today can be really effective for scaled businesses. They can also be really effective for getting the whole engine started. So excited to jump in everything today.
Heck yeah. Well, let's start with getting started because you're fresh in that too. So I read a bunch of your LinkedIn content. I've seen some mentions about commenting and how important that is, especially when you don't have a following. So if you're just starting out, how much of someone's time should they spend commenting versus, and I guess connecting, adjacent to that, as opposed to posting, sending out connection requests, all of that, or sending out DMs rather? What is sort of your thought process behind that early beginning?
Yeah, so I think you just got to take a look, right? If I'm Adam Robinson and I'm getting hundreds of likes, if thousands of likes on my posts and hundreds of comments, I probably don't need to spend that much time commenting because we can capture all of that awareness, right? We can capture all of the likes, all of the comments. We can qualify all of those engagements and awareness and then go out and convert it into meetings through connections and DMs. However, if you don't have a substantial following or you're not getting substantial engagement, a lot of your time is actually best spent like in the comment section, building one-to-one awareness. So I think of this as like compounding outbound in public, right? Every person that you comment on potentially has a chance of seeing that comment. Even better if they engage with it. I don't know why I'm getting a thumbs down. That's like a right.
I
That's
want
like
to
digital.
do. I want to
Yeah,
do.
we'll give him a thumbs up. So the way that I think of commenting is like digital eye contact, right? When you go up to someone at a bar and you say hi and you get in their face and you try to, be all aggressive, but like maybe you're 1 out of 1,000. But if you make eye contact first, you have a much better chance of having a real conversation. I think email, you can kind of treat that like a volume channel. It's a little bit more of a numbers game. You ruin a domain, great. You go spin up a new one. But LinkedIn, like you only get one, and you've only ever had one. And so you have to treat that property a lot differently. And so one of the best ways to warm up your LinkedIn engine for yourself is to get in the comments section. And believe it or not, our platform doesn't help you do any of that. Okay. We don't do AI commenting. We're not going to tell you what to say. We will give you tasks so that you can manage and like organize who you should be commenting on, particularly your prospects and maybe thought leaders in the space. But fundamentally, I think the things that you do in public on LinkedIn should be a human, right? Like,
And
you
yeah,
should, yeah,
I'm gonna just like really, really, really emphasize as someone who gets a lot of comments, and it is increasingly obvious that the increasing number is AI. It feels really good to me when I know someone has read my post, whether they're trying to get my attention or not, and they write something meaningful that is from them. And it is very hard for AI to do that. And like over time, you can tell if someone's doing what you're saying, Michael, and like not just using one of these AI comment spam things. And the AI comment spam things are so like I used to reply to every single comment that I got and try to make a meaningful reply to the comment before this whole AI commenting thing happened. Then like there was a wave where like 10% of people were using these AI comment things and they were so fucking bad that it was like embarrassing. But like now it's good. But like it's now soul crushing for me to go through comments and try to write back because I know these people didn't actually read my post, right? And then it's really interesting. Sometimes all of the comments are people that did read the post, and like sometimes I don't know. But yeah, I will reemphasize. I think that you are spot on. Like a meaningful comment, having read the post, is digital eye contact. As someone who is on the receiving end of this,
right. And like Adam just mentioned, he's not even replying to them, right? But he sees them. Adam has 150,000 followers. I don't even know how many impressions he's putting up on a monthly basis. If Adam sees his comments, guess what? Pretty much every creator on LinkedIn is going to see their comments. So I can tell you from my own experience, like this is how we got the engine started at First Touch. Again, I was not posting very frequently until the beginning of this year. But if you go back and look at my activity, I think I throw down like 30, 40 comments a day. You just got to choose your hard. Like, do you want your hard to be the fact that you have no meetings or pipeline, or do you want your hard to be the fact that you have to write comments? Like, how much easier is that than sitting down and writing a 20-minute personalized email? Like, the game is harder now, but it's actually a lot easier, right? And so everyone's trying to offload, all the hard work. I think there's like a very small bucket of hard work that you can do as a human that has a really outsized impact. Commenting is one of them. I think someone asked, like, what do I do if I don't know what to say? Well, like you can just like do things that AI doesn't really do. And of course, like the moment I say this, all the AI commenters are going to go build it. But like go double comment, go tag someone in the comment section and tell them that they should check it out and that you think it's meaningful to them, right? Like do things that AI doesn't do. What does AI do? It reads the post and regurgitates some weird version of it. So like just don't do that, right? Like have a different opinion. Say something that's different. Double tag, double comment. Like there's a million ways to do this that are not that hard and don't take very much time. And by the way, you can like go to my activity feed on LinkedIn, which I'm happy to share, and you can take a look at it. The framework that I use is pretty simple. Not every post should have a comment, right? So if I go to a prospect's post and they posted 2 months ago, I'm not going to comment on it. It's not the right opportunity. Okay. If someone posts recently, hey, I just got promoted. Cool. Like throw a quick congrats on it. It doesn't have to be some AI regurgitated version of whatever happened. Just like little moments compound over time. The best way to think of this on LinkedIn, and this is like very much specific to LinkedIn and no other channel. Think of it like deposits and withdrawals, right? So you make deposits, you build up deposits over time. Perhaps I comment on someone's post and they, like it. Cool. That's a great deposit. Let's say they write back and say, "Oh yeah, thanks, Michael. Appreciate this." That's an even better deposit. And eventually you build up deposits enough that when you send a connection request, you're going to get a much higher accept rate. And then when you send out a DM, you're also going to get a higher reply rate there. The funny thing about LinkedIn is the more deposits you make as a human, you can automate the rest pretty easily. And it actually works really well. So if you saw some of my DMs, you'd be like, how is he getting replies to that? I'm saying things like, "Hey, Adam, are you interested in operationalizing social?" That's like a pretty poor DM, but I've put in enough deposits that I'm pretty sure that first of all, Adam's going to accept my blank connection request, blank, don't send notes. And then two, there's a good chance he'll reply to the actual message that I send to. So, this is not for everyone. Not everyone's going to want to do it. A lot of people just want to automate the whole thing. But if you're willing to put in the hard work of commenting, there really isn't a better ROI in go-to-market right now.
I just want to.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Something that actually works for go-to-market.
One thing,
the fun thing is, I'm peddling nothing because our platform doesn't do this. So
you're peddling strategy, and that's
and dude, Michael, you've shared numbers with me in the past of your A/B tests of commenting versus not commenting, kind of down your funnel. Can you just share those with the 65 people in the crowd right now?
Yeah. So since the beginning of this year, we built this business, operationalized social. We'll get into some of the details in a moment as well of what does that really mean. We have over 120 customers using our platform now. So we have a fair bit of data. The cool thing is this data connects into HubSpot. So we're the first company that has combined social into meetings booked, pipeline generating, and close one revenue. So we can see the entire funnel, the actual impact social's making on our business. From a very simple standpoint, very simple stat, accept rates cold, you're looking at 25%. That number's trending downwards right now. So more people are using automation, people are using Claude Code, they're using OpenClaw, they're using whatever other tools they might be using that I won't name by name. But they're typically seeing about a 25% accept rate. That number is trending downwards. When using comments strategically before creating a connection request and before sending a DM, we're seeing those numbers increase by about 2.5x. So I'm seeing about a 70% accept rate. I'm seeing about a 32% reply rate. These numbers are absurd because basically what does that mean? It means for every 7 out of 10 people that I click connect on, right, that I've run this strategy with, about 70% are going to accept. And then of those people that accept, 30-ish% are replying, which means fundamentally if I want to have go after a target account, what do I need? 5 people at that target account to basically ensure that I'm going to get a reply. Does a reply mean meeting or pipeline or close one revenue? No, right? That's just a conversation. And you have to earn a conversation. And then from the conversation, you have to earn the next step. But yeah, the numbers are pretty ridiculously high.
And in case, I don't remember whether you said this before. So how many comments are you laying down over what period of time before you're going in with a connection request?
So some of it depends on who I'm trying to connect with, right? So someone like, Adam, or someone like maybe Dharmesh, the founder of HubSpot, I'm probably going to make 2 deposits, 3 deposits over the course of a week before I click connect. For someone who I think maybe has a little bit less of a crowded LinkedIn, meaning they're not getting a ton of engagement, really what you're trying to optimize for is the notification tab, right? Do you think you can stand out in the notification tab? For someone who may be high profile but is not very active, it's actually less, right? So, you kind of market based on how active that person is and how easy you think it is to get in front of them in the notification tab.
So you said the time horizon of about a week. I think that becomes a little less daunting as opposed to many months, because then you're almost doing a sprint, like an engagement sprint a little bit with them, right? Where you're finding things to comment with and then, eventually connecting, DMing. By the way, I just want to reiterate one of the things you said, not sending a note with your connection request. We have had many people on this show. We've run experiments ourselves as well. I've literally never heard of somebody saying the opposite, where you should send a note. And I think a lot of people do. And the result, it's not even like, oh, one is like you get like 10% more connection requests. You get like double or acceptances. You get like double, triple, quadruple. It's like a completely different ball game. And what's great about that is like it takes so much less effort to just smash the connect button. So we love that. There's some questions in here about ICPs, right? Like certain ICPs are just not as active on LinkedIn. Is there a rule of thumb that you have if someone is trying to evaluate, basically, is LinkedIn even a good channel for me? And I know that comes into like your ACV, right? Like how much are you charging? And then how many customers do you need? And then you don't actually need that big of an ICP. So anyway, just want to hear your thoughts on sort of a rule of thumb behind like, is this even a worthy motion that I should experiment with based on the activity or the breadth of my ICP on LinkedIn?
Yeah. I'll give you some quick numbers. So 1.2 billion people on LinkedIn, 300 million of them are active, right? So I think the first thing you got to look at is your ICP on LinkedIn? I mean, everyone can ask an LLM, just type in who your ICP is. Very quickly will tell you these people are active on LinkedIn. Now, there's a difference between being active on LinkedIn and posting on LinkedIn, right? There's a lot of people that scroll the feed and do absolutely nothing. They like nothing, they comment on nothing, they post nothing, but they're still looking. Those are obviously harder to gauge for. But the reason that this methodology works really well is because commenting is a compounding sport, right? When you comment on someone's post, other people that you're connected with see your comment. So you're building familiarity with your market over time, right? And so even for folks that maybe aren't that active, right, as long as you're connected with them, there's a chance they'll see your comments. Now, what about people that you want to get in front of, you want to get in the notification tab, but they don't post at all? This is where finding a couple thought leaders in your space, which most spaces at this point do have a thought leader, and you can actually tag people in their posts. So a good example of this in my space, we're very much deeply involved in the HubSpot ecosystem, super deep HubSpot integration. We're in the HubSpot marketplace. So a lot of our prospects care about HubSpot. Well, lucky for me, Dharmesh, the founder of HubSpot, posts all the time, super active. And so when he posts things that are specific to HubSpot or that I think might be relevant to a wide swath of HubSpot users, right? I'll go tag prospects in his posts, right? Hey, Adam, check out this post Dharmesh made. Thought this might be valuable for you because of XYZ. Again, like you have to choose your heart. It's not that easy to come up with great comments, but like you can do it. You just have to spend the moment to do it. Now there's two kind of different aspects here. There's one, which is, do you have a sales team, right? And if you do have a sales team, are those salespeople qualified to create content for their target market? If the answer is no, they should be spending their day commenting. So Adia Toll from Ask Elephant, my recorder's here in the room, but Ask Elephant shout out, great tool. Basically her SDR team, and I learned a lot from her. I learned a lot from Neil Goyal. There's a couple other folks who run this kind of social first go-to-market system. They spend their entire day commenting. They don't write emails. What does the comment do? It warms up everything else. It warms up connections. It warms up DMs. And it warms up the phone, right? And then once connected, hey, Adam, we just connected on LinkedIn. It's Michael from First Touch, right? So when we think about social first go-to-market, like these are the strategies that we typically recommend. I post about this stuff all the time. So, if you want to follow me, I post about it weekly. But these are some of the strategies, and we just got a good question in here. So once you get the initial DM response, is your goal to book the meeting with as few messages as possible, or will you send a pitch before the meeting? That's a really good question, actually. I think on LinkedIn, there's two things you want to optimize for. Optimize for conversation. The more back and forth that you can have on LinkedIn, the better, right? Obviously, people know that you're probably going to pitch them something. So like, ask questions. If they reply, they're at least open to having a conversation. So I think, don't come in too strong with a pitch. It's not like email. If you want to pitch hard, go pitch an email and go refer to the email that you sent them. But to that point, and like Adia would say this 10 out of 10 times, you're optimizing for conversations. Conversations turn into opportunities.
And Alec Paul would say that LinkedIn is the greatest conversation opening tool of all time. And I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah. I agree. Adam and I met on LinkedIn. I've met like a ton of our investors on LinkedIn. I've met almost all of our customers on LinkedIn. I was a BDR and AE at Klaviyo, and I use LinkedIn all day, every day there too. The biggest challenge for me there was everything was manual and nothing was tracked in the CRM. So people would ask me, "Oh, how many emails did you send today?" I'm like, "I didn't send many emails. I was spending my day on LinkedIn." No one could prove anything. Thankfully, I did well in that job, so like I didn't get given a hard time. But that's one of the biggest issues in GTM right now is that LinkedIn is just completely siloed, but it's also the most important place to do go to market now. And so, you know, thankfully we built a platform that breaks down that, that black box and takes all of the actions that occur on social, brings them back to the CRM so you can fully attribute and report on it. But that's one of the biggest pain points that we see, even with point solutions, which is like, what's the impact? Okay, I got this many connections. What happened from there? How much pipeline did we book? How much business did we book? And I think for lead gen agencies, direct customers, and our agency partners, like, that's been the big unlock for them is that within a 30-day period, they can say, this is exactly how it impacted your business. And it becomes like wildly obvious that this is where their team should be spending time.
Can I ask a question about just a little bit about, choose your hard? So like Neil Goyal,
Yeah.
I like Neil. I feel less special that he comments on my stuff now after you said that. But like how many hours a day are like you as the founder and like, lead sales rep, presumably this lead salesperson, presumably
Sure.
of this first touch thing? How much time do you like chunk it? Do you like sit down first 2 hours a day? It's like commenting and then you go do all the other shit you have to do? Or like, how do you handle this? Do you have goals for the day? Is it like, you know, is first touch telling you what to do? Like, how do you decide how much time you're going to spend on this?
Yeah. It's pretty simple. So basically, first touch tells me what to do throughout the day. So essentially, the way the platform works, right? It deeply integrates into HubSpot. So, for example, anytime someone comes inbound to our website,
Can you show us?
yeah, we can take a look. All right, so
It's just the visual is like so much more helpful.
we got a cute dashboard here. Great, you can see how many connects, sent, accepted, etc. The piece that's really important for most of the people that we work with is having nativity to HubSpot. So, for example, right, we're in the HubSpot marketplace. Everything is bidirectional synced. So all of the data that's actioned through our platform actually lives in HubSpot and is connected into the HubSpot workflow builder, right? So we're built in the workflow builder. This is like no other platform does this. So for example, every time we have a webinar, right? If we were hosting this webinar, it would go through everyone who's attending. It would qualify them based on my ICP. And then I'd be able to basically go out and connect and send messages both pre and post. We'll show you what that workflow could look like in First Touch. But basically the way it works, you come in, you create a flow. So we'll say webinar. We'll go into our webinar flow, contact web visit, RB2B, shout out.
Woo!
All right. So webinar comes in, right? People get enrolled into the flow through the workflow. We qualify them. So you can put in whatever information you want here. This is a really basic one, but we have a ton of data that you can use to basically qualify directly in the workflow. It also includes ownership. So, is this contact owned by Ryan, Jared? I can also include all of our other team members in here as well. And we can do it based off of contact or company ownership or manual. Then you can enrich all the data that you need here as well. This also deeply integrates in HubSpot. So if this is net new, for example, someone signs up for a webinar, but they're not in our CRM, it will actually create all of those records in the CRM. So this is a super long-winded way of saying this is what the workflow looks like, right? We qualify, I research, okay, what if I want to put in a question here that's like, how active are they on LinkedIn? Great, added, boom. Okay. Then basically it comes through here. I get my manual task, which is to engage, comment on their profile, right? And now we're starting to automate. So you can see here, we've got approval required. Cool. Actually, set that to full auto. Over on the right side, we're already we're not connected yet. Cool. We're going to set this to auto as well. And now you're coming down and you can basically create your workflows around this process. If you have human in the loop, which we do, right? You come in here and in HubSpot, you can action this data. So this is human in the loop. No other platform has this, where I can actually edit my message and then approve and run. And then I go my activities and I'm basically served tasks.
Okay,
So
this
this is
what
how
I
I'm
was wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long-winded way of saying I get tasks on all of my prospects that come through here. And then I can basically go in and take care of that action. Right. So I'm brought right here, and then you just go into the activity feed. Cool. Ryan just posted. Let's do one live with you guys. Just see how long it's going to take.
15 minutes ago, right on top of it.
Great stuff.
Great stuff. First commenter. You should have just written first.
But like, guess what? AI doesn't write great stuff.
Yeah. Totally. Okay, so back to my original question. I'm glad we saw that because I think people now have a deep understanding of like what's going on with First Touch, and it's pretty dope. How many hours a day are you like? What does your day look like? Is every day the same throughout the week? Like, do you do it like me, where it's like, well, I got to do meetings on Monday and content on Tuesday, and then whatever on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or like, how do you do it?
I would say it's changed pretty dramatically over the course of this year. So January of this year, no one knew who the fuck, no one knew what First Touch was, right? I barely posted. I wasn't getting a ton of engagement. So I was probably spending a couple hours a day commenting. Like that was my outbound. I didn't send emails. I didn't make cold calls. I just went out and commented on.
By the way, I was expecting more based upon what you were saying.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours. I mean, I was doing like 40 comments a day.
Yeah. So
they're
like,
quick.
And that's meaningful. So like, if I think about other significant like machines that I've seen built, like Chris Walker, who's a buddy of mine, he used to every day, 4 days a week, I think, he would come in and he'd start at 8 a.m. and he would hit post at 8:45, no matter where he was with that post. But he wouldn't spend longer than 45 minutes, but it was every fucking day. And that thing compounded to something enormous, right? I really like this, I'm going to just, if your Tam's on LinkedIn and your people are fucking posting, like, I'm going to just take the first 45 minutes of the day and lay down meaningful comments. Maybe not even meaningful. Lay down non-AI comments. By the way, I'm trying to write non-AI posts. Like, I'm trying to like make things sound like AI could not have written this. Like the rant style post, I really like. It's just like a long paragraph and like run on sentences, and like it's like the opposite of what Claude thinks a LinkedIn post is. It's like the movement towards this is impossible that this would be AI is like doing something for people.
Yeah.
It's just pattern breaking. It's like we're just used to the same like kind of. Do you have I'm scrolling through your LinkedIn right now just because we're talking about it. Do you have a post that you think is kind of it's the essence of that more, let's say, run-on sentence, maybe Jack Kerouac style?
I got a bunch
post
coming. Alec hadn't posted them. I got a significant backlog right now. Here, ask him another question. I'll find one.
Okay.
I know exactly where.
Yeah, well, one, I think a huge thing for First Touch is that task list that you're saying, right? Like, I mean, Michael, you've been a salesperson. I see on your LinkedIn, ex-Klaviyo #1 sales rep. I see that. And there's this huge thing that happens with salespeople, which is like this task paralysis. It's like, what do I do? And almost like getting into the motion of what do I do creates all of this sort of downtime. And I love that sort of it does that. So can you basically go into your HubSpot task list and it sort of meshes in with maybe the other tasks that you have across emails, meeting follow-ups? Is it kind of just like basically built in now to the rest of your task list, or is it isolated in sort of a different silo?
Yeah. Pretty much the only tasks I get are to comment. Almost everything else that we do is automated. So, just kind of like full circle moment here. I spend my day doing two things manually. Writing posts, okay? And by the way, I asked Claude, or I actually think Gemini gives decent feedback. But I basically ask it to analyze my thought process, but I don't ask it to say like, how awesome is this post? I'm looking for two things. One, is this clear and does it have one through line? That's like pretty much the only two questions I ask to AI when I write posts. Writing posts is hard. Like I don't want to make this sound easy. To Adam's point, like being human in your post is like the most important thing. It should not be perfect. You don't want it to be perfect. Don't ask AI to write you a new copy of it. Like write something and ask two questions. Does this make sense? Is it simple, concise? And like two, does it have one through line? And like a lot of times when I'm writing, I'll realize, oh, this has like four different pieces to it. And then it's like, this has four different pieces. I'm like, oh, great. Well, that's four different posts now. So let me just like write more about these four different topics and I'll make them their own thing. But I think, it's hard to sit down at a blank piece of paper, right? And try to figure out what to write. So the best place to start, go through all the recordings that you have. Everyone has recording software now. Like go find interesting conversations you've had with a customer, maybe with your business partner. Just like get into those conversations, get into the transcript, find the interesting pieces, do something with it.
That's one of my favorite functions, or one of the earliest functions I was using AI for, was dumping in a big series of PDFs to do analysis and basically turn qualitative information in these just long conversations into some sort of quantitative analysis of like 80% of people bring up X, emotional pain point, and then being able to kind of like wire back from like what either we should talk about in calls, emphasize more, post, whatever that might be. I think if people are early on and like not sure how to use these things, I love that you brought that up. That's like probably one of my favorite use cases that will deliver incredible insights.
Yeah. And the workbook that I'm happy to share after this. And the nice thing is this is not like a, hey, we just like vibe coded a playbook that everybody should do. This is like the fundamental methodology of our company right here. It's called Operationalize Social. That's the methodology. There's really three components of Operationalize Social, but everything behind it stems from this, which is you have to make social triggerable, governed, trackable, attributable, and reportable. This means that you have to be able to trigger it from your internal data, right? The last 2 years of GTM have been everything external. AI SDRs, mass volume, not connected to your internal data sets. So triggerable means installed in the nucleus of the business, okay? Every time I meet with someone, I'm connecting with them. Every time they sign up for an event or webinar, it's running through that process, and we start inside out. Outbound is the last thing you should do, okay? The second is govern, right? Are there rules? We need to have territories, segmenting, reporting, etc. Is it trackable? Can I actually see the pipeline and data that it's creating? And is it governed and safe, right? SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. I think we're the only social tool that's SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. The fundamental framework, though, and again, happy to share this with anyone who's interested in it, it's create, it's capture, and it's convert. It's really pretty simple. Create awareness.
Hey, can you share this doc? There's this like IP.
Oh, like share it here? I'll share it.
Yeah. Can you make it viewable and like drop it so they can like look at it? Or it's just like,
yeah, why not? What do I care?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I think you've touched on really well, and I just sort of want to build on it quickly before we move on to the next topic, but like there's an amazing sort of connection building property to LinkedIn that is just inherent with the platform. That's why we're all on any type of social platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram. We're trying to connect with people, or we're trying to look at funny content, depending on the platform. But for the most part, we're trying to connect with people. And you had said before, like, this is just completely different than, well, let me take a step back. What you had said was this will amplify the effects of email if you're picking up the phone. And this is something we saw kind of in the early kind of growth stages of our B2B, which is like when you start commenting or, getting in front of someone, before you're trying to sell them anything, they get brand awareness pretty quickly, right? It's usually in the headline of your even when you comment, right? It's right in that little description box. If I click on your profile, first touch is right in the banner. Not only that, I get to see a photo of you. I get to see that you live in Boston, where you went to college, your previous work experience. Probably within 20 seconds, I get like a really good background on who Michael actually is as a person. Now, when you reach out to me, not only do I have brand awareness now, but I have like personal awareness. It's not a stranger reaching out to sell me something. There's the possibility that they're reaching out for a conversation. And when you just send someone an email, like, you know, pretty quickly that they're trying to sell you something. What your decision is basically as the recipient is, am I looking to be sold on this thing right now? Versus when you're reaching out on LinkedIn using the strategy, their decision is, do I want to connect with this person right now? And again, we're pretty much all on LinkedIn to connect. So that taking that leap and hearing your numbers on like 30% of your accepted connection requests replying, that would be insane on email or on phone. But it's sort of like your standard that you're seeing across the board on LinkedIn, which I think is a beautiful thing. I want to ask about the profile page, right? Once people see your comments or see your post, ideally they get to your profile page. Were we going to dive into something before we get into like this whole profile page as a landing page topic? I think there was one.
Well, Katie asked a question and Michael said he'd get to it. So you want to knock that one out first, and then we'll go to the profile page.
Yeah, let's do it. I could have teed it up. Either way is good. Yeah. So basically, like, what does the process of automation look like? Look, everything we're talking about is like best case scenario, right? If you really want to treat LinkedIn like LinkedIn and get the most out of it, everything we've talked about is exactly what you should do. The percentage of companies that do that and the percentage of people that do that's like 1%, which, by the way, is why it works so well. So for the majority of folks, like, how do you operationalize LinkedIn and social in a really powerful way without having to do all the hard work? There's still hard work that has to be done. Don't get me wrong. Basically, it's connecting social to all of the different pieces of your business. So inbound workflows, right? Signal-based workflows. RB2B is a good example of this. All of the places where you have intent, okay? Capturing your likes and comments. These are all things, by the way, that First Touch does. So as we talk about the capabilities of First Touch, right, we partner with companies like RB2B to bring in signals. We have an integration with Clay to bring in signals. We actually go out and capture all of the social data, likes and comments. The AI in our platform, which maybe we can just give you a quick look at. It's going to be a lot more fun to look at than to talk about. Let me get in here. Cool. Okay. So in the actual workflow builder, I'll give you an example of one. Engagement. So every time we get an engagement, right, there's a few things that are happening here. People are getting in progress, completed, disqualified. But how are people actually getting disqualified? Well, this is all AI. So we're combining like 50 plus different data sources here to qualify both on the contact, qualify on the company, right? We also have our research agent, which is going out and determining, like, are they active on LinkedIn? Is anyone at their company active? Do they have a strong potential for social selling, right? And then from here, this is where a lot is being automated. So it's getting assigned to the person that actually made the post. So for example, Ryan Gunn here, is he already connected with them? If yes, great, send a message. If not, comment task, and then connection request auto and approval required on the message. So this is like the workflow of how you go out and capture all of that awareness, qualify it, and then go about the process of converting it. A lot of this is like RevOps and GTME focused. Okay. Reps like shouldn't be spending their time in anything that looks like this. Reps should be on the front line, going out and building awareness, one-to-one commenting and converting it. But yeah, these are like the ways that you can kind of build some of these systems. And then you can conditionally split on like a ton of different data. So any data that's in HubSpot, take all the properties, contact properties, etc. I won't do a whole demo right now. If you want to do a demo, like, feel free to sign up on the website. I'd be happy to chat with you. I open up the calendar for you guys. So anyone who shows up to the website in the next, day or two, the calendar's up there for you guys. But that's the process of what it looks like to automate.
You can drop your link into the chat too, by the way. Feel free.
Nice. Oh, did someone just do it? Let me see.
Yeah, I dropped in the demo. Get a demo page.
Nice.
Byron, we have a YouTube channel dedicated to this. It was at the top of the chat.
I'll drop that right now.
This is here. I'll drop it in again. Boom.
Yeah. Are we going other CRMs? Yeah. We'll be in Salesforce later this year. MCP is in beta. At some point, we'll open up the APIs as well. So fundamentally, you should be able to use us to run social first GTM across most platforms. So updates will be coming on that, over the course of the year. But a lot of room to run in HubSpot land today.
Absolutely. I mean, especially for, that seems to be I mean, obviously it's HubSpot and Salesforce. I saw ADIO in here too. That seems to be kind of the earlier part of the market, taking up that just from cost and onboarding and everything.
And like
One thing you
kind of
said,
like the hot item in town, right? Audio, like
yeah. It's like the new copper.
I don't think about it. I've never logged into a CRM, if I'm being honest.
One thing I just want to emphasize, because we do have a lot of early stage folks in here, and there is I would say a pitfall that we can fall into sometimes. That giant workflow that Michael just shared, do not expect your SDR to be the one setting that up. As Michael said, they're the one who is going through the tasks. It's probably going to be up to you or a go-to-market specialist on your team or somebody to set that up. So don't give them too giant of a job there. Okay, let's get into the profile page. I think this is incredibly important. Your profile page, you get a little bit of space on there to talk about yourself, what you do. If you're running this type of selling motion, right, or outbound motion, really you should think of your profile page as a landing page, right, to start selling your services. That way, when you comment and it's not related to which it shouldn't be related to selling your services, once they get to the page, your services almost start, I guess, selling themselves a little bit. They're just there without being, asked for. And that's what everyone's doing, right? They're showing what they're doing on, for their work and everything else like that. So, Michael, in terms of, I guess, principles and things you look for, or maybe that you have your sales rep set up on their profile page to act as a landing page, what are some of those like most important characteristics for you?
Yeah. All right. So I want to try to keep it simple, but there's like a lot to unpack here. The LinkedIn algorithms changed this year. I think it's called Morning Brew or Morning Brew 360, something like this. Basically, like your profile optimization dictates what your content can do and who it gets distributed to. So basically, the first step for LinkedIn is it looks at your profile. It determines what is this person an expert on, right? Based on the keywords that are in their profile. And based on that, it gets distributed to people that might care. Distribution, right? Like impressions, engagement is actually down, but the quality of the engagement is up. So I think that's an important piece to note. That happened earlier this year. It's my job to like try to stay on top of some of this stuff. I'm not a like huge expert, but I know enough that like, and I see what's working on our side. So the first piece is on your profile, like make sure that you have the keywords and talk about what you do. Okay. Like in your bio, on your job experience, in the headline. Okay. Like keep the headline, really focused, try to make it as tight as possible. What do you do? Who do you help? You get 63 words on your headline. Excuse me, 63 characters, words. What am I saying? 63 characters in your headline. That's all that shows up in the feed. Most people, if they go to your actual profile, right, they're going to do a little bit of additional research here. But when you show up in the feed, which is where you're going to show up if you're commenting, it's where you show up if your post gets distributed to people that aren't in your network, you get 63 characters. You got to make those 63 characters count. What do you want people to know? You probably want people to know your role, and you probably want people to know what you do. So for us, like operationalized social inside HubSpot fits within that 63 words. When I started out this year, no one knew what First Touch was. Still, a lot of people don't know what First Touch is. But I literally all I had was operationalized social inside HubSpot. That was the whole thing. That worked awesome because people kind of understood what we did and then would come to our page to learn more. Over time, it's kind of like matured a little bit from there. But use those 63 characters. That's like the most important 63 characters on LinkedIn.
But by the way, Pete, bring mine up one more time. I just want to make one comment on mine. I don't write about retention.com, which sells to e-commerce and publishers at all. But I put CEO at retention.com because I spent $800,000 in that domain and it's like a clout thing. Like it should probably just say like, if it were more in line with my content brand, it should, if I didn't own that domain, it'd say CEO at RB2B and then it would get into the value prop much sooner. And that, for any other reason than just like trying to like build as much credibility as humanly possible, that would be the right move in my case. And then the other thing that I like about this is it's just like screams the value proposition and it punches you in the face, right? Like, there's no way to like think that I do anything other than that. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would also say that the having a CEO at multiple companies, there is like an authority building kind of thing there. You talk a lot about
Yeah.
talk a lot about being a founder and founder stories and talking with other founders. Obviously, bootstrap versus VC is one of your big content pillars. So I do think it does that, but you did have to make a decision here, right? Like all of this is
B2B because
that's our B2B. This is our
yeah,
B2B.
the way that I like to articulate this is I don't write about anything related to our other businesses at all because I have so much marketing leverage with B2B SaaS people who buy our B2B that like every word, it's like when you're posting on LinkedIn, you're creating this persona over time. And the more focused that persona is, the more potent the words of that person is. And if I start talking about ecom, it dilutes my B2B SaaS brand. It dilutes it dilutes the one sentence summary of who Adam Robinson is, right?
Yeah.
It's much easier to think of Adam Robinson as a bootstrapped, SaaS founder who is a 30 million ARR who like hates VC. Then, well, he talks about email for e-commerce, but also it's like, yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, what two quick thoughts here. One is like when someone sees your feed, sees you in the feed, they're going to see CEO, retention, RB2B. They're going to see person level website identity, right? That's what they're going to see. The rest they won't. If they come to your profile, they will. For the folks that are on this call too, like, try to be as specific as possible. There's so many headers where you look at it and it's like, AI could have written this, and I have no idea what you do. A good person to look at that gives optimization tips. Daniel Greenberg, shout out Daniel Greenberg. He helped me a lot with this. He was the one who even I didn't even know it was 63 characters until I started following him. But just like really think deeply about that piece, because getting people to come to your profile and getting people to accept your connection requests, a lot of it is going to be determined by whatever the first 63 characters of your headline are. So spend your time there. It's worth it.
One other thing I want to point out too, everything you're saying, 100% spot on. I want to build on that and say this banner, I feel like more people are doing it, but I feel like it's almost like an underrated place it's a billboard for your business and your value prop. So while it's cool, you might live in SF and have a picture of Lake Tahoe on there or the New York City skyline. That is a great opportunity to like literally have a punch you in the face kind of sleek little billboard that is beyond just kind of the plain text here. Obviously, this is super important, but having like a value prop that is right set of your profile photo and has some of your branding, I think is just like another great opportunity to punch them in the face with here's exactly what I do. So that way you don't have to, in your first message, tell them basically.
Yeah. And I'll say one last note on this, just like higher level. You should be thinking as much about your profile on LinkedIn as you do about your website. Whether you're the one that designed your website or not, this is the new landing page. Okay. HubSpot was, famous for inbound marketing. I read the book. It's great. It just doesn't live on your website anymore. This lives on social now. Okay. What does that mean? It means what used to be, write blog posts and get SEO, show up at the top of the blue link on Google, click on it, lead form, capture, email. That process lives on social now. It's very simple, right? It's make sure that people know what you do when they come to your profile, make it easy to engage with you. The comments and likes that you get on your posts from the content you create is the new version of inbound. Adam said this like 2 years ago. It stuck with me. Inbound led outbound. Guess what? Inbound led outbound starts with the likes and comments on your posts. But you have to go get them.
I stopped saying those words years ago.
Well, I'm going to bring it back.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, it's the right idea because it's the only thing that will fucking work. The problem is the reason I stopped saying it was because there's like way less signal than I thought for most businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like if you went all in on inbound led outbound, in most cases, you're like, Adam, like you deceived me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas for this very targeted effort for your reps, it will work. Especially, you know, if you have the lineup with like your TAMs on LinkedIn and they're scrolling and shit and they're posting. But it's like it's like I was just being way more like, like all other ways of doing anything are dead, inbound led outbound only. Like it's kind of everyone needs to drop everything and do this. Like there's too many people that it wouldn't work for to like stake my entire content brand around it. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
So that's why I stopped saying it. But it is. I'll go to the grave saying it's probably the only thing that's going to work. You know, like.
Well, and
Yeah.
coupled with
Creating,
that too, as we learned, like you gotta also, and I mean, Michael, you probably see this all the time. Like you have to have like a really good pitch and know exactly what you're doing and have some sort of product market fit, which there's a good chunk of folks who signed up for RB2B or whatever, thought that was going to be sort of the magic thing. Like, oh, I can finally identify visitors on my website. And like you still have to have all of those other messaging and positioning pieces dialed in. And that doesn't, it doesn't matter what your go-to-market channel is. That you're testing, like you need to dial those in and then pick the medium by which you're going to distribute that message. But like you have to make sure you have a message that wins first. And I think that was also a tough point for a lot of folks.
And by the way, can we just like explore RB2B for 3 minutes? So like we're working on this new business mold sets. We have not touched RB2B's code in 5 weeks. Rob's spending 15 minutes a day answering tickets. And I make 3 posts per week on LinkedIn, not about RB2B. I'm not saying this is replicable, but it's one of the most interesting things that I think is going on right now. Like from second one, we tried to make this dead simple product that the capabilities of AI would like amplify the humans in a way to where it would be like the leanest thing ever, right? And dude, it was a lot of work getting every single possible use case in the docs to where Finn could do a good enough job that it worked. The other interesting thing about RB2B is like we had a bunch of competitors that were all trying to help their customers book demos with website visitors. And we were like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to lower the price of it and just accept the fact that our customers aren't going to book demos, but they'll want to. But at $79 a month, you're happy to see who's on your website. So that's just all very interesting stuff that is happening in the world that I just want to bring to the attention of startup founders. I'm not bragging. I would want to know if that was going on, if it wasn't my business. But like, it's just staggering. I am dumbfounded every day that it keeps going.
Yeah, there was the plateau is forecasted to happen long ago.
Yeah,
and here
and
it is.
It just keeps crushing. It's baffling.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, and another interesting thing, we've had a lot of guests on this show, and we've heard countless stories of sort of people hitting product market fit, somewhat early-ish in their journey, and then building all these new features, and then almost losing product market fit along the way in this effort to like almost this mindset that like work and building more things equals revenue growth. And like, that is just not, I mean, this is a testament to that not being
building the right things. And then another thing that I think is really
too, like,
and I think another thing is really interesting about RB2B, which maybe this applies to some of you, maybe it doesn't. In an AI world where it's so easy to vibe code, feature sprawl is it's like a disease. It's like, and I think a lot of vendors perceive themselves as in this feature war. They can't even keep their own internal teams up on it. It's impossible to keep their customers up on it. And then when all of that noise is going on, this like incredibly simple value proposition of like, I will tell you who is on your website and do nothing else. If you want to do a single other thing, go get it somewhere else, right? Like, it's like the power of that is like growing stronger in the market over time, which is just really interesting. It's like, and again, I'm going to try to do with the next business. Like, can I create a dead simple value proposition in a super commoditized space and like use this thought leadership and UGC or whatever and like pull it off again? I mean, we'll see. But I'm just really interested in that idea that like simple products with like unique distribution can like thrive at like a sub VC scale level, but is a level at a level it's like, I mean, 8.8 million ARR is not shabby if one guy is spending 15 minutes a day on it, right? Like, it's wild. So
I just want to give a parallel before we sign off. I listened to a thing with the Raising Cane's guy. They do the fast food chicken fingers.
yes,
And
Awesome.
he was asked, he's like, why don't you do burgers? He's like, if I do burgers, that's going to increase the amount of wait time by 15 seconds and all this other stuff. Then their food's not going to be, he's like, I might as well start a new business. Like, I might as well be starting a new business if I offer burgers. And that has just stuck with me because like, I think, I don't think anyone in here is like in the food business. I think that's why we're probably all in here. But as an outsider, that it like doesn't even make sense almost that he would say that. But listening to such a successful insider say that kind of makes you reframe some of these things in your own little sphere. And I think that's just so interesting. And folks, if you want to turbocharge your LinkedIn and actually start treating it like the rest of your go-to-market in terms of sophistication, dialing it into your HubSpot, you got to go to First Touch. I'm going to drop the link one more time in here for First Touch. I'll do straight to the Get a Demo page. I might have to hit you up, Michael. You some of those webinar workflows, man. I mean, how can I not be intrigued by that? So
yeah, one of the best performing ones, but it all comes down to awareness. So go build awareness, comment or post or both. Go do it. It works.
Heck yeah. Well, hey, thank you. This was fantastic. I'm gonna start the cheat sheets again. I'll post a little breakdown of this show for everybody. We will have the recording again live later this week on the YouTube channel. I'm dropping it in once again. Thank you so much, Michael. Next week we got Davide, the head of growth at Clay. He's going to tell us how ABM is actually working at Clay. So that's going to be really fun. He's in the belly of the beast. Using Clay to do ABM for Clay. Right Come on. Yeah. Sorry.
Clay's pretty good at ABM right now. They're getting a lot of traction. And then, by the way, in 6 weeks, we're pivoting the show to be called Claude Did What? B2B experts share Claude skills that you can deploy today. So maybe we'll have Michael on to share some Claude skills and then give them to you in MD files.
Hey, there we go. All right.
I'm sure this guy's got some Claude skills. I'm sure you just did. I mean, you're not just commenting all day. You're
no. We got skills. We got skills, but not for commenting. I use my brain for that.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Nice, man. Thanks, Michael.
Take care, everyone. Thank you, Michael.
All right.
See you next week. Bye.